Hello, everyone. Sorry for a bit of a late start. Good morning. My name is Sabrina Kofer, and on behalf of Choice and ACRL, I'd like to welcome you to today's program, How Artificial Intelligence Drives Scientific Research, which is sponsored by Springer Nature. This session is one in a series of sponsored webinars from Choice and ACRL that addresses new ideas and developments of interest to the academic library community. Now I'll just put some links in the chat for where you can register for upcoming Choice ACRL webinars and watch Choice ACRL webinar recordings on Choice's YouTube channel. Before we get started, I'd like to point out just a few features of the webinar software. All of the attendees who join the presentation are automatically muted and your cameras are off, so don't worry about generating any noise or feedback. We've got that taken care of for you. In the main area of the screen, you can follow along with the presentation materials. To adjust the size of the slides or video, you can use the divider in the middle of the screen to slide the sizes to your liking. We are using the Q&A feature today. Please use it to ask questions of our speaker. We'll answer as many questions as we have time for at the end of the presentation, so please do type your questions into the Q&A as they occur to you. You can also use the upvote feature to highlight questions you like or would like to be addressed. Also, there is closed captioning available for today's session. To toggle the automated captions on or off, please use the CC button on the bottom right corner of your screen. Last, please note that we are recording today's program, and everyone who registered should receive a follow-up email with a link to the archive version. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce today's speaker. Professor Fatima Roumate is the president of the International Institute of Scientific Research, Marrakesh, Morocco, and Professor of International Law at Mohammed V University in Morocco. Professor Roumate is also editor of the recently published book, Artificial Intelligence in Higher Education and Scientific Research. And with that, I will hand it over to Fatima.
Thank you, Sabrina. And thank you for inviting me to speak at this webinar. I'm trying to share my presentation. I hope you can see it now.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So thank you for inviting me to speak at this webinar. I will be talking about artificial intelligence and research. As you know, the starting points are COVID-19, which accelerated the massive the use of artificial intelligence. In fact, the mass use of artificial intelligence in scientific research offers new opportunities, such facilitating access to information, data, etc. But also it's imposing new risks and challenges. This presentation, therefore, attempts to examine AI implications on scientific research, considering the importance of this sector and the race toward AI. The main questions that could guide us are how AI is changing science and how science will continue to surprise us with AI innovations. What are the risks imposed by the malicious use of artificial intelligence in higher education, education by research and education for research? Could ethics in artificial intelligence be the solution to ensure the qualified research? And what are effective strategies and policy actions which could address AI challenges imposed in these fields? I will try to answer these questions through 3 points. The first one, artificial intelligence impacts or implications on scientific research, ethics of AI and scientific research, and a recommended strategy. Interactions between artificial intelligence and research, or for interaction between artificial intelligence and research, we have these new tools which are changing science, considering its two pillars: higher education and scientific research. Scientific research will surprise us by the future, future innovation, AI innovations, but also artificial intelligence is learning and is developed through other research. So this this interaction between AI and scientific research leads us to another important point, which is that AI is at the same time the subject of study, scientific discipline, tools, and it could be also with AGI competitor. What can AI learn from human brain? Here we continue with this interaction between AI and scientific research. AI is facilitating science and scientific research, but also scientific research, especially, for example, some fields like neuroscience and cognitive science are also helping and AI are learning from these fields. All scientific disciplines and artificial intelligence are trying to give a good understanding to intelligence, which is a culminating point between artificial intelligence and science, especially neuroscience, cognitive science, but also psychology, philosophy, etc. Usually, considering this interaction between human intelligence and artificial general intelligence, human intelligence is inspiring AGI and AGI benefiting or helping human intelligence. How we can or how artificial intelligence is learning and inspired from from human brain through inspiration, deep reinforcement learning, episodic memory, and imagination or mental simulation.
Fatima, would you mind making your slides full screen? It should be the button to the right of the four squares.
Like that?
Yes. See if it loads.
Is it okay now?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you.
So this interaction between AI and scientific research explains in fact this evolution from AI with single or few functions and with self-awareness to AGI with every aspect of cognitive which has reached human level, and AI with a cognitive empathy with the use of theory of mind. To also another level, which is super intelligence, where every aspect of cognitive has surpassed human level, and AI here with emotional empathy. What about artificial intelligence implications in scientific research? Of course, AI offers the possibility to analyze mass collected data or human behavior modes and beliefs based on data and by manipulating videos. Therefore, artificial intelligence impose also new challenges, such as the intensification of plagiarism and fraud. The quality of publication is now questioning the rigidity of publication, and this leads us to the rigidity of publication policy and the emergence of fake science. The content detached from contextual reality is also a negative impact of artificial intelligence. These tools also could create or facilitate the manipulation of data, information and knowledge by political, religious, and ideological goals. Yes, artificial intelligence ensures easy and free access to the information for researchers, but only if they have the internet thinking to the global south and the researcher in the global south. AI ensures personalized education, considering here education by for research and by research. Therefore, transnational corporations are the leader in these fields because they are investing more than states in AI innovations, and they are occupying cyberspace by these innovations. That increases dependency on the owners of these technologies, and it's conditioning the independence of states, considering that technological sovereignty starts by education or educational sovereignty and innovation sovereignty. AI risks also, or AI impose also risks to languages and academic freedom. What about malicious use of artificial intelligence? Sensitive information could be extracted during the learning process, considering this interaction between users, researcher, learners in one side, and AI or AGI in the other side. Misappropriation of criminal exploitation of personal data, including marketing purposes during the research process, and collecting data is another challenge. But the most important when we speak about malicious use of artificial intelligence is cybercrime. According to Steve Morgan, global cybercrime costs to grow by 15% per year over the next 5 years. And the cybercrime markets will be at the same level as the third economic countries in the world. Here, when we speak about about cybercrime, we should also mention that universities are, since COVID-19, since 2020, more exposed to cyber crime. And a lot of universities now are dedicating huge funding to face these risks and these threats. UK, for example, universities in UK, for example, or more than 27% of these universities in UK are facing these challenges. And here, in a lot of universities are updating and adopting strategies, AI strategies, especially to face these challenges or these threats. In this context, universities are adopting this AI strategies, which are based on security strategy, or what they call, some universities calls security conscious culture, which is needed to face these risks. According to Brian Kelly, in a poll of 154 institutions, more than 40% reported that security have become much more important in the past year. Ransomware attacks against university increased by 100% between 2019 and 2020. Transnational companies are, especially high-tech, such as Microsoft or IBM, are also adopting or updating them AI strategies. Microsoft, for example, released counterfeit and open source tool to help assess risk by allowing users to attack their own AI and machine learning. For IBM or this transnational companies has also established AI principles with which consider that the AI system must be transparent and explainable. In fact, all strategies are based on trustworthy. AI strategies are based on transparency, fairness, and trustworthiness. This leads us to another key points, which is ethics of AI. And could ethics of AI be a basis of new strategies in scientific research? First of all, we need to define ethics, what we mean by AI ethics. AI ethics, according to Alan Turing, AI ethics is a set of values, principles, and techniques that employ widely accepted standards of right and wrong to guide moral conduct in the development and use of AI technologies. We have a lot of instruments, international and regional instruments. OECD, for example, in 2019, we have OECD recommendations on AI, G20, G20 AI principles. We have several efforts or significant efforts made by international and regional institutions. But the most important, the most international, the recommendation on the ethics of AI adopted by UNESCO in November 2021 is the only international instruments. Therefore, even if we have all these regional and international instruments, we need to mention that they are all the recommendations, and these instruments, especially recommendations, are not banned instruments. And this leads us to another idea, which is the legal value of this kind of text. When this ethical instrument, this international instruments, leads us to the basis of ethical AI framework or governance ethical AI framework, which should be based on values and principles. 4 values: respect, which are respect, connect, care, protect. And also principles, especially 3 principles: accountability, sustainability, and transparency. All these values and principles are based on international law, and all branches of international law, especially international human rights law, international humanitarian law, and other international supranational mechanisms. The recommendation on the ethics of AI adopted by UNESCO underline and suggests a lot of policy actions related to artificial intelligence and scientific research. For example, the paragraph 104 recommended to member states or UNESCO stated in this paragraph that member states should encourage research initiatives on the responsible and ethical use of AI. In the paragraph 107, the UNESCO mention or underline the importance of the enhancement of public and private investments in research and ethics research. Also, the importance of training AI researchers in research ethics is important and recommended to member states according to the paragraph 108. We have also other strategies or other regional instruments which gives a lot of importance to these topics. I mean, enhancement of research in artificial intelligence, which should be in the center of all international bilateral and multilateral cooperation, especially between the global north and the global south. International cooperation should be increased according also to several recommendations on ethics of artificial intelligence, such as the work or the efforts made by OECD or European Union or G20 or G7, etc. They all focuses on the enhancement of international cooperation between countries, between international organizations and countries to support them and to offer them a kind of assistance during the implementation, for example, of the UNESCO recommendation and during the harmonization of local legislation, of national legislation with the content of this recommendation. Here we have several examples. For example, OECD recommendation adopted in 2019 underlined the goal the goal of this recommendation was to spur innovation in trustworthy AI that focuses on challenging technical issues and AI-related social, legal, and ethical implications and policy issues, according, of course, to Section 2, Paragraph 2.1, Line A. Public and private investments should focus also on open data sets and are representative or data sets that are representative and data protection of to support, of course, an environment for AI research and development that is free of inappropriate bias and to improve interoperability and use of standard according to the recommendation of or OECD recommendation. What about the efforts or this coordination between coordination and collaboration between inside countries between researcher and legal and parliaments or politicians? Why? Because we need that academia work with and the scientific community should work with a politician and with legislative institutions to update all the legal framework and make it at the same level of or harmonize it with international and regional instruments. In fact, AI and scientific research should be also in the top of all the cooperation of all agreements or bilateral and international cooperation between countries. But also we need to enhance, or countries need to enhance and to guide scientific research on AI and research to other disciplines, to other fields of science, and not to be limited only to STM, because what we observe now is that AI and research in this field is limited to STM, science, engineering, mathematics, etc. We need more information, we need more research on other fields of research, such international law, political science, and other disciplines. On philosophy, on history, on culture, languages, etc. Why we need to guide research and this efforts to other disciplines, religious also, because it's only research, only a good understanding of through scientific research of our relations with AI, with machines. We need now to understand this, how we are using artificial intelligence and for what we are using artificial intelligence. But in the future, when, with the evolution and with all the developments in AI, AGI and symbiotic systems, etc., we will need, when we will face other evolution and other innovations in this related to AI, we will need to understand, we need that AI, that machine learnings or large machine learnings understand them relations with human. And we need in this phase in the future, we need that machine understand the environment, and that machine understand human behavior, and that machine understands themselves. How we can ensure this transition from now and the future? We will ensure, we can ensure this through scientific research. Only scientific research in different fields, in history, in mathematics, in science, engineering, literature, philosophy, psychology, etc., could ensure us and allow us to observe AI evolution and how AI could be able to be adapted to the environment. And only scientific research in these fields with a multidisciplinary approach and with a multi-sectorial approach could facilitate us and could allow us to observe also the level of autonomy of AI. Considering this three level of autonomy in the loop, on the loop and out of the loop, explained by Human Rights Watch. So scientific research on artificial intelligence is and more on ethics of artificial intelligence will be the way, our way to ensure safe AI in the future. In a conclusion, interaction between AI and scientific research should be guided by the ethics of AI and ethics in science. We need to consider ethics in science and ethics of artificial intelligence during the life cycle of AI systems. New strategies on ethics of AI and higher education and scientific research are needed. Why? To ensure independence of all to all countries and also to individuals, because in this era of artificial intelligence, we are more dependent of AI, and we need this lead us to rethink the real meaning of freedom in the age of artificial intelligence, as we need now to, with all the negative implications of AI, we need to rethink also the meaning of research itself, because if AGI, if ChatGPT, for example, can do research instead of researcher, so what is the meaning of research? If ChatGPT can give me any text, and it could help me to create, to write, and to look about the content, etc., and create content, etc. So, what is the meaning of research? What at this time, we need to question these concepts and to rethink these concepts, because research, in fact, means what? Means creativity, means that the topic is new, the phenomena we are studying is new, and we means also that we need to give new response, legal response, economic response, philosophical response, sociological response, etc. That's why we need these new strategies, not only national strategies, AI strategies, but also new AI and scientific strategies. New strategies means also, or ethics of AI means also new legal reforms. When we consider now the intensification of plagiarism with these new tools, AI tools, that means that we need to rethink all the legal framework inside countries, but also in international level concerning intellectual property. And we need to rethink a lot of texts and a lot of rules in different fields to protect not only data, personal data, but also scientific data. Because when, for example, the World Health Organization said that AI is the only facilitate access to data, and the use of AI to have access to scientific data is a way to face the pandemic. That means that here, yes, AI, it facilitates to face a pandemic, but also here we need to protect data, because when we are looking for scientific data, we can have access also to data, to personal data. An important example here, this new platforms, when researchers publish them research, we all have our resumes and we all have our data, personal but also scientific data. So having access to these platforms for free means not only that they facilitate access to data, to personal data, but also to scientific data, but also to personal data. So for that, we need new legal reforms. International cooperation or cooperation between the global north and the global south is very important to not leave no one behind. If we want to think or to consider equality, we need to enhance this cooperation between the global north and the global south, researchers and also editors in the global north and in the global south. Yes, one of the challenges here also, the role we need to rethink and we need to enhance the work of editors in these levels. I mean, with this intensification of publication. Yes, ChatGPT or other AI tools are facilitating publication, but here also we need to questioning the quality, because we cannot sacrifice the quality of publication for the quantity of publication. This leads us to one important idea explained by another colleague, Marius Vaccarello from Romania, who speak or who discussed this tyranny of this tyranny on publication, summarized by the expression publish or perish. So here we cannot just focus on the quantity of publication and don't give any evaluation to this publication. We need to focus more on the quality of the publication. Why? Because here we are in this transition period between human scientific research and machine scientific research. And in the future, we will have this competition between both of them. Now, artificial intelligence is only a tool. It could be considered as agents who help or assist researchers in them work. But in the future, it could be competitor. So how can we save human civilization? How can we save human creativity? And how can we save all this culture, religious, artistic, languages, etc., from the content made by machine? So that's why we need more cooperation, bilateral cooperation, but also multilateral cooperation. And that's why we are now seeing this important effort in all international organizations, especially in UNESCO or UN, etc., because artificial intelligence and research or AI implications on scientific research, it could take us to another, by us, all humanity, all actors, states, international organizations, transnational companies, individuals, NGOs, all of us, to another step in the history. But how this transition could be? Could it be safe with the protection of all this, all what humanity created until now, or it could be with a lot of damages, and we should protect this. Also, it's a matter of technological sovereignty, which starts, as I said before, by educational, scientific, and innovation sovereignty. Thank you. And I'm at your disposal for any question.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you so much, Fatima, for that presentation. Like you said, we can move on to the Q&A. So to all of our attendees, if you have a question you'd like to submit, please put that in. And before we get started, we just have a couple poll questions from Springer Nature that I will launch and you all can fill out. Okay, so we do have a couple of questions already in the queue. So we have a first question here from Douglas, who asks, could the speaker share their thoughts on how AI is now and will into the future impact the publication of academic research? As AI begins to generate articles and analysis, who will be held responsible for the content? Should AI be allowed into the peer review process? So a couple
Yes.
questions there.
First of all, yes, I can. Of course, we can share the slides with the audience. And for the other part of the question, who could be responsible. That's why I said that we need to rethink this legal framework, especially in law concerning intellectual property, to say who will be responsible, the researcher, or of course we cannot delegate this responsibility to the machine. Even if we have some voices now in the scientific community and in international society who are supporting this idea, I mean, to delegate responsibility to the machines, and some AI principles adopted by some countries. I think AI principle, Japanese AI principle is already considering AI, or especially AGI, as agents. So, which means, and in this text, Japanese authorities, government said that AI should respect all governmental legal framework. So that means that they are considering AI as responsible, and they are delegating this legal responsibility to AI. In UNESCO, member states, when they adopted this recommendation, the consensus of member states were guided to no recognition of legal responsibility to the machines. But who knows, maybe in the future we will say other countries who are delegating this responsibility to the machine. But it's not a safe, it will be not a safe decision. So I think developers and users could assume this responsibility, but not the machines.
Gotcha. And any thoughts on, sort of touched on it, but if AI should be allowed into the peer review process specifically?
I think that it's better for reviewers to be assisted by machine, but to allow peer review to the machine also, it will not be a safe way. I mean, so we need usually human control on the machine when it comes to scientific research. Why? Because scientific research is conditioning, in fact, development in all sectors, starting by agriculture, medicine, architects, etc. So in all fields. And we cannot just delegate this kind of responsibility to the machine. Now we are observing a lot of published research which are just a kind of fake science, and we need to pay attention to all the scientific information published in this fake scientific research. So I think we need, maybe in the future, when we will have more sophisticated AI, we can delegate a big part of this responsibility to the machine, but not now.
Right, that makes sense. Because I know some professors have started using AI detection tools, but they're not super effective or great at detecting AI generated content. So,
Yes,
but
maybe
maybe in
for
the future.
languages, yes, but for the content itself, I think we humans should have this control on the content.
Mhm. Great. Okay, we have another question here from Sherry, who asks, how do you see government oversight with at least some academic and applied behavioral science research, especially if there's data that is viewed that needs to be protected for national security?
Here we can apply the same rules as before. also before AI, we have also some research with some scientific ideas which could be a threat for national security. And we have some rules who are regulating this thing. So I think now, yes, what we need to do now is to update this rules depends on AI evolution. But here, let me mention another challenge, which is that regulation and the rules and law, national legislation or international law are takes a lot of time to be updated. And we have this evolution in AI, which is very fast. So how we can do this equilibrium between creativity and innovation in AI and law, which is very low. And sometimes it takes a lot of time, because when we consider, for example, international law, we know that adoption of a recommendation of a decision in international law or even charter, etc. It takes a lot of negotiation and consensus between states, and it takes a lot of time. So this is also another challenge, but I think also international society now has this conscious that it's time to review, to rethink even international law or international legislations depends on these new evolutions related to AI.
Great, thank you. And I know you answered Josh's question. We'll work to share a PDF of the slides with everyone. And also all registrants will receive a follow-up email with a link to the recording as well. And then I just have a question where, how can librarians and other higher education or university leaders stay updated on new recommendations in ethics on AI? Have any tips for that?
Here also we need to reinforce this the kind of debate, open debate between all actors, between developers and transnational companies, but also universities, researchers, teachers, and students. So, and we need to have with us also politicians and those who are creating or in parliaments, in political institutions, who are caring about texts and how they can update texts depend on society needs, on academia and social needs. So we need to create these bridges, and I think this is also a good impact of artificial intelligence, because now more than any other time we are observing inside countries and in international institutions, in international society, the reinforcement of these bridges between academia and political society, between academia and society, and between academia and economic society. So we need to reinforce this kind of bridges to came to a common understanding of AI and the common understanding of ethics of AI for a good scientific research and for good, for human well-being.
Yeah, okay, great. Let's see. I know in your presentation you talked about security conscious culture. And I was wondering maybe if you could talk more about the AI security strategies that universities are adopting to protect against cybercrime.
Yes, I think what we mean by security conscious culture, that every learner and teacher and researcher and also authority in all universities should have this security culture, should know that when we are, for example, doing a webinar or online course or debates between a researcher, etc., they should know they should consider this security culture, considering that the most important institutions who are cyber crime attacks are universities. Why? Because of the number of students in these universities and the number of data. Yes, personal, but also scientific data shared in universities platforms, but also in this new networks, scientific networks, not only social networks, but also scientific networks. And for that, the recommendation ethics adopted by UNESCO encourage member states to teach ethics or to include ethics of AI in all programs since the early years in education systems, not only in higher education, but since the first years in education system. So we need to have this culture, because our kids, for example, when they are studying, doing online courses, they are creating with considering facial recognition, considering a lot of programs. They are creating data all the time. So who can protect this data? Yes, states should make the legal framework, policy actions, dedicate budget and funding for this kind of responsibility. But kids also should be should have this knowledge. Parents should have this knowledge. Teachers and researchers in the university should have this knowledge, how they can protect, which data we should share, which platform we should use, and how we can use all this. So this culture, we need to have it, all of us.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Let's see. Another question came in here. Okay. Can we ask AI to develop the AI ethics policies for us? So,
I don't know for the moment. Maybe there are programs in this level. I don't know, but personally, I think AI and scientific research in artificial intelligence will surprise us by other AI innovations in the future. So why not? Yeah.
okay. I think we have time for maybe one more question. Let's see. I know you're the editor of the published book, Artificial Intelligence in Higher Education and Scientific Research. So could you maybe talk more about that title and some of the topics that it focused on?
Yes, this books, in fact, discuss this interaction between AI and higher education and scientific research, considering that higher education and scientific research are linked. Higher education for education and for research and by research. We are educating, as a teacher, I mean, at the university, learners by research, and we are also, universities are preparing students for research. How? By research. So we cannot make a separation between these two fields. So these interactions between AI and education and higher education and the scientific research were discussed in this book. But the most important, I mean, characteristic of this book is that we made this project with a multidisciplinary approach, We have women and men, young and old researcher, and we have, researchers who have a lot of experience with the huge number of publication, scientific publication, and also from different parts of the world. So we have professors, PhD students, but also we have as other authors are entrepreneurs, or responsible in some public administration in different countries in the world. This was the characteristic or the strong points, if you want, of this project. But also we focused on the opportunities and the perspectives. So we have this multidisciplinary approach, gender approach, but also prospective approach and forecast approach. So yeah, we suggested a lot of, authors discussed a lot of new ideas, such, for example, we should rethink the meaning of teacher, because we are here, or AI are taking us from teacher who share information, who facilitate access to information and to knowledge, especially to knowledge, to a teacher who is a bridge between society and political society, economic society, and academia, to a teacher who guides this political society during the process of the concerning legal framework, or updating when they are updating legal framework, for example. So yeah, we have this kind of ideas discussed not only for now, but also from now to 2000s to 2040. So that's why I think it was, I hope it was successful. It was a successful project.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much. So I think we're at the end here. So I'll just thank you so much to Fatima for taking the time to speak with us today, and thank you to our attendees for your questions and comments. I'd like to remind our viewers that we did record today's program, so be on the lookout for a follow-up email from Choice and ACRL with a link to the recording. Also, if you have a few minutes after the presentation to fill out a brief survey, we would really appreciate it. So thanks again to all of you out there for joining us. We hope you learned something new from the session and hope to see you again in the near future on another webinar.
Mm-hmm.